Hello and welcome, beautiful souls, to my channel, Light of Shaya. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to those of you who are new. I hope you enjoy this content, and for those of you who are returning, I simply want to say thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of your support. So today is going to be a message for whoever needs it. It's a message from Spirit, so this is basically going to be a general reading. If you're drawn to this particular video, I trust that there is a message in here for you. For some of you, it may even just be one sentence, so do keep that in mind when you stumble across videos. Usually there is a message there for you when you feel drawn to it. Sometimes it's not the entire reading, sometimes it is, as I said, just a small portion that you need to hear that'll like trigger a memory. And for others of you, of course, the reading entirely may resonate for you, or at least a large majority of it. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started here, setting the tone by ringing this crystal singing bowl. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that, just to kind of set the mood, right? So feel free to take a deep breath. And let's go ahead and get started. Beautiful. All right, so I will be using the the Animal Spirit Oracle deck here, the Good Tarot, and then something drew me for whatever reason to the Romance Angels here. So I'm going to be using this particular deck later in the reading, but let's go ahead and get started here. Alrighty, so from the Animal Spirit Oracle cards, let's see what message Spirit has for you today. That card definitely wanted to come out. Okay, so bottom of the deck here we have Take the Lead with the Stag Spirit, and below that, interestingly enough, we have Dream the World into Being, and I'm being drawn to pulling this one, Trust the Great Mystery, and Open to the Infinite Possibilities. So there's a lot going on here regarding taking action, right? So a lot of the times we are drawn to taking action, and there's a lot of unknown factors, but there's this intuitive hint that's telling you it's time to go, it's time to get things started, it's time to get moving, right? So this is a message for those of you who have been feeling this. And so let's go ahead and get started here. We have Chameleon Spirit, Act As If. Porcupine Spirit, Time for Beginner Mind. Interesting. Followed by Frog Spirit, Clear Out the Clutter. And ending with this beautiful card here, the Butterfly Spirit, Transformation is Beautiful. So this message that I'm getting here is, for those of you who feel things are unknown and you've been drawn to taking some sort of affirmative action, your intuition has likely been drawing you to a certain thing, right? And it could present itself in various ways for each and every one of you. Essentially, what these cards are telling you is when you behave as if the thing is present, when you behave as if you know, when you follow your intuition and you behave as if the thing that you know is coming is here, and you take action towards it, it helps you create the space to bring that, to dream the world into being, right? Just like Lizard Spirit said. And then we have Porcupine Spirit, Time for Beginner Mind. So a lot of you are likely very intellectual. I mean, I'm sure you guys, every single one of you is definitely intelligent, and you have a great deal of knowledge. However, sometimes these constructs, and it's really interesting because I'm seeing the Hierophant at the bottom of the Good Tarot here, these constructs we create based off of traditions, morals, ethics that have been, what's the word? They've been taught to us through the generations. They're traditions that have been taught to us through generations. Sometimes these actually create these little boxes in our minds about how things can move forward. And so then we create these ideas as to what is possible based off of previous experiences. And I'm here to tell you that the past cannot truly determine what your future looks like. If you keep doing things as you've done it in the past, then your future won't likely look very different. So sometimes there is a need for risks to be taken, especially if your intuition is taking you in that direction. So this is further emphasized here, this beginner mind. It's time to open to the infinite possibilities. It's time to open up to different ideas to pour into your mind and start acting as if, even if you may not have all the answers, right? And so speaking of these belief systems, these ideas, these traditions that have been handed down through generations, we have clear out the clutter here with the frog spirit. And I'm noticing how this frog is clutching onto this pearl right here. And so some of you are being drawn to clear out your mind, clear out the old belief systems that you've held onto, clear out these ideas. Once again, there's a whole thing here about traditions, ideas, constructs that we have that continue to set us on the same path. So for some of you, this could be a call to start getting rid of things too. Minimalism is incredibly important because when your space is cleared, your mind is allowed to free itself a little bit more because you're not worried. You have a cleaner space around you. So there's no worry about your surroundings, right? So a lot of you are being called to likely clear out things in your home, clear out your space, maybe clean up, tidy up, do a little bit of, I know here in the Northern Hemisphere it's winter, but you know, like do some like spring cleaning, if you will, you know, get rid of the things that no longer serve you. And of course, you don't have to throw them all away. You can donate them or give them to a friend or sell them online or whatever the case may be for you guys. There is a need to clear out physical things, and I'm also sensing that this clear out the clutter is regarding your old mindsets here. It's time to clear out the old belief systems that you've been building for yourself. Now, then we have this beautiful transformation coming in with the butterfly spirit because you're going to be set free by this experience. It's a brand new beginning. Trusting the great mystery and really following your intuition is going to lead you down this incredible, beautiful path where you start to see yourself opening up to the infinite possibilities. I can't help but feel this openness from this card. And the other three cards have this sturdiness to them. You know, this is the first like creature that's like Ariel, that flies, you know, and transformation is beautiful, it says. And butterflies by their very nature go through these transformations, you know, in order to, you know, from caterpillars to the chrysalis to the butterfly. This is basically you being reborn through this process. Your belief systems will be changing here. So let's go ahead and see what the good tarot has here for us today from Spirit. What is this message about Spirit? Wow. Okay. Yeah, okay, it's really interesting because I'll show you the correspondence in a moment here. You just keep pulling cards before I get started with the message. This is a very important message, though. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this here. So bottom of the deck here we have the Messenger of Water. I'm getting the sense that you guys have been getting messages intuitively. That's kind of how I'm reading this card, as opposed to the Knight of Cups. Well, this could be in love, given the fact that I was drawn to the Romance Angels. But the first card here we have is the Seven of Air. And usually the Seven of Air speaks of deceptions, lying to yourself. You know, it's really interesting because I've had this conversation. I've talked about this in one of my previous videos. The Seven of Air isn't, especially even in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, isn't always like malicious. It's actually quite funny because one day I realized my room needed cleaning. And I was like, I don't want to deal with that. I'm going to put that off till later. And that day I always do a daily reading for myself. And in the subconscious mind, essentially what my feelings were, the Seven of Swords came out. And I realized, oh, I'm running away from my responsibilities. So the Seven of Air here could simply be that. And I'm noticing how all these birds are kind of like calling her. So maybe some of you are seeing signs and are kind of like ignoring them, or you're aware of the responsibility of what it is that you have to do, and you're kind of like putting it off because you're like, this is massive, this is too big for me to handle. In particular, when it comes to soul's mission, sometimes that happens, where it's like, this is too big for me, I don't know what to do. So this is a call to action. And what's really interesting here is that the chameleon spirit is right above the Seven of Air, and the chameleon is somebody who blends into their surroundings, right? They camouflage with their surroundings. So this is about you learning to to break out of that. Some of you are too small for the place that you're at. Some of you are too big for the place that you're at, excuse me. You're too big, and the place that you're at in mentality, in surroundings, is likely too small to hold your immensity. It's time for a beginner's mind. And what's really interesting here is that we have the Fool below the Porcupine Spirit, time for beginner mind, right? And the Fool is, in fact, a beginner's mindset. It's starting anew. It's a fresh new start, and it's trusting in the divine, right? Because the Fool takes the leap of faith towards, and the Fool has no idea what's to come, but that sweet innocence of like understanding that everything's going to work out in the end because they are connected with the divine, its source. The Fool is able to take that leap of faith because of that, because they know they'll be caught, essentially. So, and it's really interesting here because I was talking about soul's mission, right? And note how this particular Fool has kind of like a horn here, I don't know if that's a bugle. I'm not really sure what this it's a horn of some sort, but it's like a calling, right? When you hear the horn, you hear the trumpets. It's a calling. So you're having this calling, and it's really interesting because this is following the Tower here, and the Tower is underneath clear out the clutter. And the Tower in this deck comes out very differently from the traditional Tower in other decks. And I'm seeing this as the clutter being your surroundings. The Tower is a fortress in this particular deck. There's a fortress there, and a lot of you are stuck in the place that you're at because you've created this confine. Whether it be, this could be a mindset, and it could also even be your physical home. Some of you may even get that intuitive need to move or to go somewhere. And it's a time to clear out the clutter. It's time to start cleaning up your space because it's time for preparation to move on to the next step. Then we have the Three of Earth here. And the Three of Earth speaks of collaboration. But what's really interesting is I'm looking at how this figure here, this person, is looking out to the horizon, as in like kind of evaluating. It's almost like I can see something on the horizon. I'm not really sure what it is, but I see it and I feel it. It's like, and what's really cool is note how she has butterfly wings for a mask here. Do you see that? There's like butterfly wings for a mask. And it's really interesting to me that this is also beneath the butterfly spirit here. There's something about changing the way you view the world. Something about changing the way that you view the world. Transformation is beautiful. All of the past transgressions you've gone through, all of the difficulties have helped shape your vision. And it's helped you see things differently, from a different perspective, right? And so it's about embracing that, embracing these ideas, these new horizons. So let's go ahead and keep on with this message here. Very interesting reading so far. Wow. So here we have, wow, okay, so here comes some more major arcana. And it's interesting because I'm reading this Devil very differently than I normally read it. But, okay, here we go. So, look at this. Interestingly enough, we have the Stag Spirit here, and look at this. We have the Six of Earth at the bottom of the deck. There's something here about taking the lead in your material world, I'm getting, because you're kind of like divinely, you are divinely guided. You're taking the lead. You're taking the lead in something, in the physical plane. Now it's really interesting here, beneath the Seven of Swords, we have here the Temptation card, and I want you to note that she also has a mask on. It's almost like some of you have been lying to yourselves about where you're at. Maybe you've been telling yourself that you're happy where you're at, but I just want you to know how this angel is caressing this. I think this is a mango. I can't tell exactly. It looks kind of like a mango. But caressing this and kind of just feeling stuck. I feel like she's stuck. She's complacent. She's stuck wherever it is that she is. And then there's this beautiful treasure here. That's like, of course, it's like luring. Temptation is the devil in this particular deck. Some of you may be concerned, like have money concerns or something like that, and you're thinking maybe I can't do these things because I don't have money. But then we're followed here by this beautiful Empress energy, and the Empress is basically saying, I have everything that I need. You know, I have this abundance within myself. this devil energy isn't strong enough to contain me. And what's really interesting here is that then we have the Seven of Fire, and the Seven of Fire for me gives me this sense of like taking a leap of faith as well, because I mean, I don't know if you can see this unicorn, which is an ethereal creature, is kind of taking a leap off of this particular cliff. And it's interesting because I'm seeing this tower here has a cliff on it. I'm not sure if you guys can see that in the center. It looks kind of like a cliff there, like the rock structures there. It looks similar kind of in a sense to this. And it's like you're leaving behind this tower. You're moving away from this tower, whatever this confined space is for you. You're leaving it behind and you're looking at these vast vistas that are before you. But then I'm seeing this Two of Fire, and there's a sense of sadness behind it. Maybe there's a sadness because you know that you have to leave certain people or things behind, things that you were very fond of. There's this sense of sadness that comes from the Two of Fire. And the Two of Wands typically does speak about planning a move or planning to do something in business or a move in your day-to-day life. And it comes very naturally, right? The Two of Fire typically isn't like super active planning, if that makes sense. It's like planning things, like there is a plan, but it's like they're split, not split seconds decisions, but they're decisions that are just naturally made from the flow of the inspiration that is coming. And so it looks like here there's some sadness regarding these vast vistas that you're looking at, but you're still taking action towards it. This devil energy seems to have been holding you back. And now it looks like you're freeing yourself from this temptation, whatever it may be. So let's go ahead and keep on with this message. Wow. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, and look at this, guys. Here we have, at the bottom of the deck, call. And note how this particular figure also has a trumpet. You're being called somewhere. There's a deep inner knowing that you have that you're being called to an action, to something to do. And it's bubbling beneath the surface. And some of you may be stuck in the devil energy saying like, I don't know if I can do this, or no, this isn't what I want, or you're being drawn by the material realm. There's something about the physicality of where you're at or the things that you do that give you a great deal of comfort, but these are actually holding you back in some way. Because you're like, it's like you're holding on to the material. You see how she's kind of like caressing that mango there? It's like, this is where I belong. And it's about instead realizing with this Empress energy that it's not where you belong. The belonging doesn't happen outside of yourself. That's what I'm getting. The belonging is inside of yourself. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Wherever it is you go, you create your home. Wherever it is you go, you create your own space. And this is why I was being drawn towards this beautiful energy here. I was very drawn to the romance angels because here we have finally the Ace of Water. And what's really interesting here is that this frog spirit also seems to be holding a very similar little pearl. Clear out the clutter. Maybe there's something about past love connections here that have caused you some sort of grief, and it's time to like let go of these things because they're not helping you anymore. Holding on to past transgressions or pain is not helping you anymore, especially when it comes to love. And now look at this. We go from one pearl, from the this little seahorse carrying this pearl. It's like tugging it along, right? It's like maybe things have been moving very slowly because I don't know why I get the sense that this pearl is heavier than what the seahorse can really carry. And so things have been moving rather slowly, maybe in your love life. And then we have this beautiful Ten of Water here, that ascended master feeling. Every time I look at this, I can't help but see that, it's Buddha. So this is something going on in the higher realms regarding your absolute total emotional fulfillment. And what's really interesting is that I'm seeing here, I'm not sure if I could show you all three cards here, but I don't know if you guys can see this. The Six of Fire and the Ace of Water are both converging into this Ten of Water. It's like the Ascended Masters or the higher realms have been kind of like drawing you in to this place, towards your wish fulfillment. Not only just your wish fulfillment, but essentially your heaven on earth, because that's what the Ten of Water for me is. It's like heaven on earth. And there's like a, I know it's funny because he's laughing, right? There's like the universe has this interesting sense of humor. God has this, or the divine has this really interesting sense of humor. And it's like, I've been pulling the strings all along, and you haven't been seeing it. And it's really quite funny. And this is why there's this call. There's this call to move forward, to go. And the Six of Fire could also indicate travel, because I can't help but notice like the hot air balloons, you know, the ship. So as I was saying, there's this converging of the energies, and it's like reconverging with Source here. And Source has been pulling the strings the whole time. You haven't been seeing it. Maybe some of you have been wondering where this energy is. Like maybe you've been able to perceive it, but the divine has stepped in to say there's something more that needs to be done. It has something to do with either the place that you're in, mentally or physically. It might be a combination of both. Maybe your physical space is impacting your mind. Maybe you're unhappy there, or maybe you're just so used to that dynamic, that place, that it's become familiar, and so you've created this devil energy and this tower because you're like, this is my place, this is my space, I can't leave it, right? But there's this call from the Fool and from the Judgment. So I'm getting the sense this is in a love connection as well. So I'm actually going to pull some romance angels here because this Ace of Water is looking at me. Okay, that's interesting. So we have these three cards. It's really interesting. So it says, let your friends help you. Ask for and accept support from others. Maybe you've been trying to do this alone. Maybe there's something that you're trying to do alone, and you're being called to instead embrace the possibilities of helping, of getting help. And what's really interesting here is that, remember how I was saying that this is like a burden, right? Because this little seahorse seems to be struggling, and I put this card fell on top of it. Ask for and accept support from others. So if you've been carrying this burden, perhaps it's important for you to let others know what you're going through in order to help free you. Now, what's really interesting is that the pay attention to the red flags brought me a little bit of confusion here. But sometimes when I see this in particular when it comes to, because this isn't obviously a direct love reading, but there is love involved here for whatever reason. I'm seeing here, pay attention to the red flags, right? The signs are cautioning you. But what's really interesting is that this card came out above Buddha. And so for me, this card could easily resemble more so saying, okay, so I'm getting two messages here. You've been receiving, so usually this card is for me like signs. You're getting signs from the divine. It's not always like the shadow aspect of this card, but what's really interesting is that maybe some of you have been getting these intuitive messages from the divine. And remember how I said the Seven of Swords and the Temptation card was here? And the signs are cautioning you. It's like you already know what it is that you have to do. The signs have been cautioning you. You've already received the messages, and it's time for you to move forward. And I'm just noticing here in particular the depiction of this card, how this this person seems to have their eyes set on something. It's like it's time to, it's like ready, aim, fire. Ready, aim, fire. It's like I have the plan in action. And what's really interesting is you see all of these little angels, these, I believe they're called cherubs, like behind her, like they're getting her ready to make the shot, to take that shot, to push forward, and to get things moving, essentially. It's like you have your eyes set on something, and now it's time to go. It also says you are lovable. Yeah, and this is... Sorry guys, this is really beautiful energy that just came out, and this is exactly what I was getting. This is exactly what I was getting, guys. We have, this could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek, and we have soulmate. Yes, this is your soulmate. So I'm getting major chills right now, guys. This is a very powerful message for you. And for some of you, you've been looking for these signs, you've been looking for confirmation, and it's been around you this whole time. I need to tell you that. The answers have been around you this whole time. Maybe some of you have gotten yourselves caught in some form of false self-mask and deception due to this devil energy. And because of it, you're not seeing what has been before you. Maybe this pay attention to the red flags are your own. On top of that, your own self-created ideas of what people behave like and what their behavior indicates, or traditions, right? Remember how I was talking about traditions and structures and ideologies? There's something about having to start all over. It's like it's time to clear your mind of this gunk that you've been ingrained in. Maybe some of you grew up in toxic households, and so you believe that love looks a certain way, right? You are lovable, you deserve love. And some of you deep down haven't realized that you haven't been in the energy of truly loving yourself because you don't believe you are lovable. And yet here is the divine orchestrating all of this. As I was saying, the divine has been pulling the strings all along, and you have your soulmate. You already know who this person is. So this is definitely a soulmate twin flame reading. This is why I was drawn to doing this. In particular, this is a very powerful message for the divine feminine. The divine feminine needs to take action, right? The divine feminine needs to take action because that's part of the masculine aspect, one of the masculine aspects that need to be healed within her in order for her to move forward on the twin flame journey, or soulmate, divine counterpart, whatever you want to call it. Same difference, for me. Honestly, they're just titles. There's traditions. They're these ideas. It's not about the titles. It's about the feeling. When you have an inner knowing about something, follow it. When you're in perfect alignment, follow your feelings. Don't follow the mind. The feelings will lead you in the right direction. That is how Source communicates with you, through your feelings. When you have a gut reaction to something, there's a reason behind it. Okay. So, this message is probably going to resonate differently for everyone. And I trust that you'll know exactly what it is that you need to do and exactly in which moment you have to do it. Remember, your connection with the divine is essentially what the divine counterpart journey is all about. When you trust in God, in Source, in the divine, in spirit, however you refer to your higher power, when you trust, everything else in your life falls into place. And the ego, temptation here, the ego tells you otherwise. But in reality, you've already known what the answers were all along. So, this is a very interesting message, absolutely beautiful. The energy coming through here is just, it's divine. It's divine, and it's heartwarming. So, if you guys, if this message resonated with you, please do leave a comment down below, because I'm absolutely fascinated by this. I'm curious to hear what your guys' experiences are, because I feel like when we share our knowledge and we share our experiences, we kind of learn and grow from each other. And of course, if you enjoyed the reading and it did indeed resonate with you, please do hit that like and subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated. And as always, I am sending you so much love and so much light. Take care.